Welcome tonight to the Hart School District Board meeting. It's great to see everyone here. It's 7 o'clock. We will reconvene, and I will first now report on action from our closed session. In closed session, the board approved the settlement agreement for the California Office of Administrative Hearings, case number 2022090882. The substance of the agreement is as follows. Student will attend Hart High School. Parents signed release of information for district to submit referral packets to NPS. Student will attend district's ESY 2023 credit recovery program. District will fund 45 hours of one-on-one academic tutoring. The district will pay $7,000 in attorney's fees to the student's attorney. The vote was 4-0 to approve this agreement. Also in closed session, the board took action to approve the 5-day suspension without pay of a classified employee. The roll call vote was 4-0 to approve. In closed session, the board took action to approve a separation agreement with the teacher. The substance of the agreement is as follows. Employee resigns with the last date of service being December 31st, 2023. The employee releases all claims. The vote was 4-0. Thirdly, the board took action in closed session to non-re-elect one certificated employee for the 2023-24 school year. That vote was also 4-0. Fourth, the board took action to accept the resignation of 3 certificated employees effective June 30, 2023. That was a 4-0 vote. And lastly, the board took action to release the temporary contracts of 9 certificated employees effective June 30, 2023, and that was a 4-0 vote.
We have the ratification of 22/23/31 through 39, which are student expulsion reports.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley to approve the ratifications of student expulsion reports number 22/23-31, -32, -33, -34, -35, -36, -37, -38, and -39. All in favor?
Excuse me for just a second. Some of these are 2022-23, some are 21-22. I don't know if that matters.
The last one is 21/22-39. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And the chair says aye. Thank you. We will now reestablish the quorum. Debbie?
Mr. Messina,
Here.
Dr. Moore,
Present.
Mrs. Storley,
Here.
Mr. Jensen,
Present.
and student board member.
We do have a quorum. Thank you, Debbie. We'll move on to Pledge of Allegiance. I've asked Saugus Principal Peterson Henry to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ooh.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next is approval of the agenda. We do have a couple of changes to the agenda tonight. Action items N and O, we will be moving from the end of the action item listing to the first part of the listing. The reason being is that Dr. Moore, as you can tell, is remotely joining us from a 3-hour time distance away, and so we will move those items up to the front of action, and then we have one other change in the consent calendar, item C2, that Dr. Vieira will explain.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Item C2, obsolete textbooks. The attachment has one textbook listed that should not be. It's Concepts of Athletic Training, 7th edition. That should be pulled from that item. That is not obsolete.
So we'll entertain a motion in a second for the agenda as amended, as stated.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Storley, second by Mr. Messina. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. We'll move on to approval of the minutes of our regular meetings of March 15th and April 19th.
So move for March 15th.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley to approve the minutes of March 15th. All in favor?
Aye.
Student Board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. April 19th.
Move minutes of the regular meeting of April the 19th.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Storley, second by Mr. Messina to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 19th, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Student Board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. Thank you. Recognitions by the board is our next item. And we're going to recognize National Merit Scholarship finalists from the Hart School District. Mr. Kuhlman, would you introduce this?
Yes, it is my distinct honor to take a moment and recognize that in the Hart District we have countless amazing students. And among those amazing students, there are a few that have distinguished themselves as being awarded, as being selected as National Merit Scholars. According to the data that I was able to find, over 1.6 million students each year take the PSAT, and of those 1.6 million, just under 0.5% in each state score high enough on that marker to be determined as National Merit Scholars. You know, we are here tonight to recognize academic achievement and achievement in some of our performance groups, and we wanted to make sure we set aside time to recognize these amazing academic scholars. And so what I'd like to do is, we may do this a few times, but may I ask if the board can greet the National Merit Scholars up front? I'm going to read their names, and we have some certificates for them, and we'd like to take a picture with the board and make sure our community recognizes these amazing academic scholars in the Hart District. Let's take a quick moment. When I call your name, I'll ask you to come on up, and you can shake the hands of our board members, and you can stand off to one side until we've read all the names, and then we'll take a picture together. Okay. So would you please join me in congratulating Miss Alicia Chang from West Ranch High School. Alyssa, are you here? Please join me in congratulating Joan Go from the Academy of the Canyons. And wanted to take note that this evening the Academy of the Canyons is graduating, and so Ms. Go has a good reason for not being here. But we can also recognize Mr. Andrew Kim from West Ranch High School. Please join me in congratulating Mr. June Park from West Ranch High School. Okay. Please join me in congratulating Timothy Fan from Hart High School. Please join me in congratulating Ella Shin from West Ranch High School. And finally, let's congratulate Miss Clarissa Jouot from West Ranch High School. Okay, one more round of applause for these amazing scholars. here, we have a few more recognitions. We do have a public comment for National Merit Scholars. Mr. Jensen, with your permission, may I read that name? Okay. Dr. Akash would like to share a public comment about our National Merit Scholars.
Good evening, everybody. And my name is Dr. Akash Ahuja, and I'm a board certified psychiatrist. I would like to start by congratulating Alyssa, Joanne, Andrew, Juan, Timothy, Ella, and Clarissa. What a proud moment for you guys. Thank you so much for achieving what you have achieved. A big applause for them, please. We all are proud of you and are proud of your parents and your teachers. You have done an exceptional job, and wish you all the success as you embark on your next journey. All the best for your colleges and everything. Thank you. We have several students who are highly talented, like these kids, in many specific fields like math, physics, chemistry, biology, art, history, geography, to name a few. And many have participated and have done exceptionally well, representing not only their respective schools, but the school board, the Hart School Board, in the state and national championships. Many of them have bring home the trophies and a lot of accolades for our school district. I appreciate that the board invites and honors the sports teams. It's such a proud moment to see when the basketball, the volleyball, and the other team members come here. But I also urge the board members to invite the students who have done very well, like these kids, periodically, who have done very well in other fields, like if they have done very well in math Olympiad, science Olympiad, geography, spelling bee, things like that. And also their teachers and coaches. That will help in terms of encouraging not only the students and their teachers, but will also encourage other parents and kids to join them, to do well. That can also help our kids to achieve higher in terms of the standardized testing. And this time we have 7, next time we might have 70 kids sitting here achieving the National Merit Scholarship. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Akash Ahuja. Good job, guys.
Good evening, Governing Board, Superintendent Mike Kuhlman. And we are here again tonight to have an opportunity to recognize an outstanding achievement from our students, not only in athletics and academics, but also in the performing arts. In December, our district was able to recognize 3 award-winning bands bringing home championships. And one of the crucial aspects to any marching band is the color guard. Now, very few people know that in the spring semester, our color guard becomes winter guard and puts on shows of their own. This year, we have 2 of our winter guards in our district that on March 22nd at Long Beach State won their respective divisions in the Winter Guard Association of Southern California Championships. We are excited to have these hardworking students, directors, coaches, and parents with us tonight at the board meeting, so we have a chance to recognize this great achievement. Let's give them a hand. First, we would like to recognize Saugus High School Winter Guard, who won this. Okay. Who won the Scholastic AAA Championship. And to introduce this group is coach and advisor, Mr. Rob Guzman.
Thank you for having us. Can you hear me? Can I just talk? Can you hear me? We're good? Okay. Yeah, this is a huge thing for us. We're super excited to be here. We had 1 junior, 1 senior on a team of 18, and the rest were like literally brand new. They rolled up in this time last year, and I was like, here's a flag, and we'll teach you what to do with it, and you don't know how to dance? It's okay. We'll teach you everything you need to know, and they just continued to excel throughout the entire year. It was amazing to see their progress and growth, and they just worked so hard. And Championships Day, they were up at 5 in the morning at Saugus to perform at 9:30 and got in their cars, and then they performed at 9:30. They had a 12-hour window to just kind of hang out in the Long Beach area to perform again at 9:30 at night, and they were able to go on last in their division, and they had an amazing performance. And to hear their name called last, you know, and to win that gold medal and to have the highest score out of 75 schools that had competed that day, it was such an awesome feeling for them. So, and they just continue to work hard, and we're excited for the growth of the program. All right, so we're going to pass out some certificates. This is for Chloe. Taryn. Sarah. Danielle. Sienna. Noel. Jaden. JC. Riley. Maddie. Ellen. Sydney. Michaela. Kai. Savannah. Sawyer. And that's it. We have two that are at a choir performance this evening. And as you'll hear them, they're super loud. You can't miss them. So the reason why they have two, and this will go for Hart as well, that performance at 9:30, that was a competition. So they actually had to compete at championships that morning, and they won that morning. So they got a gold medal and a banner. And if you made finals, the top 15, 16, they got to compete again for another medal. And that's why they're wearing that second gold medal on their neck, is because they got two that same day. So good job, guys.
All right. And our district, just as we did for the marching band championships, our district is lucky enough to recognize 2 award-winning groups tonight. And finally, we have the Hart High winner guard who captured the Scholastic A Championship. And to talk about this amazing group is Director Anthony Bailey and Coach Anthony Garcia. Let's give him a hand.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing season for us as well, and Rob did a really great job of giving you a picture of what that takes, competing twice in a day. We started our season at a signature show that we won, and we actually started in Scholastic AAA, and we were actually promoted 2 divisions that day because of the great skill that the students exhibited. We also competed in Nevada, and we won Nevada State Championship. So not only did we win 2 medals, we actually won 3, and we're the only color guard in the state to do that. So we're really proud. This doesn't happen, as you know, without great teachers and great staffing. And one of my great coaches that's been with me at Hart for over 10 years is Anthony Garcia, and he's really the genius behind the color guard. So if you wouldn't mind helping me introduce these. First award goes to Kayla Catalan. Leslie Chavez. Maria Perez. Karen Kolak. Vanessa Olia. Marissa Padilla. Cheyenne Reed. And finally, Carly Uno.
Congratulations, Hart.
And we'd like to do this next one a little bit backward in terms of procedure. We have a moment here where we want to recognize our student board member. And what I'd like to do is Miss Danielle Cox, we are so thankful for the time that we've been able to spend with you. We have this as an opportunity to ensure that student voice is a part of what happens on the board. And I just want to share with you as superintendent, I have loved how you have taken that and run with it. And we've had conversations about some pretty important things. And you reached out to students from across the district and made sure that you were speaking on behalf of students. And I think you've done an outstanding job. What we're going to do is I'm going to have our board president share two special gifts. Mr. Jensen, there's one, and there's two. And we will take a picture, and then the board will come back up behind the dais, and I know that each of them wants to share a few words about you as well. Okay. Back up, and we have more embarrassing things to say.
Oh, sure.
This week. I don't have them with me, but I can get them for you. Probably not on him, but we can get them to you.
Okay.
It's okay. Seems like we always have to improvise.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, my mama raised me right. At least she thinks she did. Oh, come on.
If I could have your attention, please. If we need to engage in discussion, if you could please go outside of the boardroom. We'll continue on with our meeting. We just had awards for Danny, our student board member, and I wanted to make a comment or two and invite other board members to comment as well. Danny, thank you for your service this past year. It's been enjoyable to work with you. One of the things that I always liked about Danny is she came with a smile on her face and left with a smile on her face, and had a very delightful personality and attitude, and was very intent on serving well, serving with everything that she had, and took it seriously, and I valued the input that she brought from a student's perspective. I know you'll be very successful in your future endeavors, and I hope that this was a memorable year for you and that it will be a good foundation for the future. So I enjoyed working with you. Thank you very much, and all the best to you.
Danny, you're incredibly engaged this whole semester, this whole time. You come prepared, informed, and I think one of the things that I really appreciate from you and our other board members, but this kind of goes especially to you. I believe you represented all the high schools, all the junior highs. I believe you got information from every school, and even if it wasn't your particular issue, you brought it forth to us. And I think that's very important for a leader. And you certainly are a leader, and I will expect nothing less of you than maybe president. Thank you.
Danny, that's the first time I've heard anybody up here call you Danny. So, I love teasing you about, she's up here always writing away, and I said, you know, it's not the place to do your homework. But what she's doing is she's writing notes as people are talking and then asking those questions afterward, which is great. It's a great thing to do. You pay attention, that's what I love about you. And as you heard tonight, you're serious about what you're doing. You understand how serious this is, and I very much appreciate that in you. And hopefully you'll take that into your adult life and be very successful.
Dr. Moore, did you have some comments you'd like to make?
I absolutely do. Danny, it has been a true pleasure serving with you as our student board member. I have listened and learned from you. You have represented the students in the Hart District extremely well. I want you to know how important your voice has been and will continue to be in bringing about positive change in our community and beyond. I'm very excited for your future, and I wish you all the best.
Danny, did you have a comment? Actually, you'll have board member comments in just a moment, so you can wrap that up in one. Okay, well, we're going to move on now with our communications part of the board. We'll start with our board member reports. Mrs. Storley.
Well, thank you, and welcome, everyone. Audience, fellow board members, superintendent, cabinet. This past weeks, I've been in knee replacement therapy recovery. That's hard to say altogether, by the way. I'm up and running. That's not true, and I don't want anyone to sue me, so I'm not giving you fodder for that. I'm not up and running, but I am up and limping. I want to thank everyone who's been kind and have offered prayers for my recovery. Joe, who's texted me more than most and wished me well, and I do appreciate it is a community, and I do appreciate the support for the community. If I can, I'm doing 3 graduations, and I'm excited about that, and I can't wait to watch our newest grads walk that walk and get their diploma. So congratulations for everyone who's graduating, and for all of those who are coming up to be seniors. You've got a great year ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Dr. Moore, did you have a board member report that you wanted to present?
Just very briefly, thank you, President Jensen. I too want to congratulate all of our seniors who will be graduating in the next few weeks. It's hard to believe that the first of those is happening right now, and they'll continue for the next few weeks. It's an exciting time. So congratulations to all of our seniors. And I also wanted to give a special thank you to our teachers. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and I wanted to make sure to thank the teachers in the Hart District for the amazing job that they do. And I know that we'll be celebrating Classified Appreciation Week next week. So I wanted to thank the Classified staff too for being the heart of the Hart District. That's all.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Moore. Mr. Messina.
All right, first, congratulations to all our grads too. I mean, I know it's been a long time and a hectic few years that you guys had to go through, so very much appreciate you guys working hard to graduate. In 1962, President John Kennedy signed a proclamation which designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which the date falls on to be Police Officer Week. Currently, tens of thousands of law enforcement officers from around the world converge on Washington, D.C. to participate in a number of planned events which honor those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. Now, it's annual, it's every year, and it's for a whole week. This year, the names of 556 officers that were killed in the line of duty are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. Their stories of sacrifice have been lost over the years until now. They're putting those stories together and putting them up and on there. We know as a small community that we are, how important our law enforcement officials are to us, our law enforcement deputies and such. So I think just take a minute. If you see one of them out and about, just tell them thank you. It's that simple. Also, you know, my Uncle Bill served in the military and as a Boston police officer for years, so it's especially close to home. I also went to Castaic High School for the Career Tech Ed opening, if you would, the open house. And it was so great to see that start to come to fruition and restarted, re-energized, if you would. It was one of the things I ran on years and years ago, and it kind of stalled during, well, it did stall during COVID-19. So it's nice to see that it's been re-energized, and we're working at it. It'll be bigger and better as the years go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Messina. I'd like to also congratulate all the graduates from our several schools. This is an exciting time of year. All the best to each of you in the future. I'd also like to congratulate Casey Cooney from Valencia High School, who was our District Teacher of the Year, an outstanding teacher. Just a couple other things I'd like to mention. We've had a phenomenal year with awards in our school district, from the Saugus Volleyball CIF champions to the Hart soccer team CIF champions to the Valencia High School CIF and state basketball champions. And just recently on Saturday night, the Hart boys volleyball team won another CIF championship. Well, coming up this Saturday, as a matter of fact, Castaic baseball team is playing for the CIF championship at Blair Field at Cal State Long Beach. So if anyone gets a chance to attend, that'd be great. But we just at least want to wish them all the best, and it's exciting. This is their first year with the graduating class, and we're so excited for their baseball team and wish them all the best on Saturday, or Friday. Just a couple other things. I wanted to also congratulate the Academy of the Canyons Middle College High School mock trial team for winning first place in the 30th annual Antelope Valley High School mock trial competition. And swimmer Jonathan Gim from West Ranch High School was CIF Southern Section Division I champion in the 50-meter and 100-meter freestyle, and took second place and third place, respectively, in those events at the state finals. So a lot of great things happening. There's more I could read and share, but we'll leave it at that for now. And we'll turn it over to our student board member for her report.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Okay, so first and foremost, I wanted to add on to the good news about Castaic. So this is their first graduating class, which we are all very excited for. But the president also wanted to touch on how they're hosting their first Powder Puff game. As Mr. Jensen mentioned before, the baseball team will be going to play for a championship game, which we are all really excited for. And they have a senior send-off rally next week. Prom season is almost officially over, as majority of their high schools have had their prom already. Golden Valley's is going to be the last one this Saturday. We're all really excited. And then furthermore, to kind of kick off GV's prom, we've had a rally this Tuesday, and we've been hosting our senior Sprolic week. It was really exciting because today was the college commitment day, and I got to wear my Cal State Long Beach merch. So I was really excited for that. And then tomorrow, thank you. Tomorrow is going to be Blast from the Past, where we are going to be celebrating like what we looked like in elementary school and middle school. So that should be fun. Lastly, I did want to touch on this year as student board member. It's been a complete honor representing the students, and I've loved to work and get to know each and every one of you. With that, I wanted to segue into last week's SEC meeting, where the new student board member for the 2023 to 2024 school year was elected, and I am honored to say that it is another Golden Valley student, Dara Faladun. She's actually in the audience right now, if you want to raise your hand and say hi.
I don't see her.
Golden Valley is really excited to be leaving their legacy and to be starting new traditions. And Dara, I wish you the best of luck. I know you're going to do great. Thank you. That's my report.
Thank you, Danny. All right, we'll move on now to our Employee Association Leadership reports, and the first is HDTA President John Minkus. Is John here?
Was. I see him.
Good evening, school board and student school board member and President Jensen, Superintendent Kuhlman and staff. Thank you all for having me here as usual. First, Danny, it's sad to see you go. It was a pleasure getting to know you and working with you, and just your insight is really important to this whole process. So I want to say thank you. Tonight, I wanted to first express thanks to all of our membership and gratitude for the hard work and continued dedication to teaching and learning in the Hart District. We, HDTA, for the upcoming year have modified our logo to more overtly recognize all of our members by title, which includes counselors, speech language pathologists, psychologists,
again.
teacher librarians, social workers, nurses, and the classroom teachers. And I wanted to say thank you to all those people because we missed out on our last board meeting when we would have recognized Teacher Appreciation Week. As we are celebrating these graduates, we're also furiously planning for next year. Tonight I wanted to take a look forward at sort of the big picture and then how it has to take into account every individual. We currently work within the LCFF and LCAP formulas. We're required to submit a plan, and that's how we're funded. And now we have our strategic plan in place. And rather than juxtapositioned, we really look at this as a confluence, coming to a confluence at this point, where these two things have to come together. And in doing this, we have to constantly assess what we're doing. We're formatively assessing as we do in the classroom on a regular basis. In assessing ourselves, we know that there are always academic goals driven by state standards. And the student behaviors recorded through grades and test scores on the dashboard. But these alone can't be our driving force. Our strategic plan provides a detailed outline, but it doesn't really reach to the depths of the everyday classroom. So with this idea of local control, our school board also must identify those behaviors that represent the values of our community, and we must institutionally reinforce them. We must look at more than a dashboard. As much as things have changed, the value of please and thank you, the value of politeness and punctuality, the value of responsibility, honesty, reliability, respect, courtesy, self-control, and any other community values cannot be discounted or discarded. Inherent in our district must be a level of social accountability. The idea of a social contract must be reinforced at all levels at all times, but it must be implemented with consistency, continuity, and care. HDTA members are surely held accountable, but we, the Tier 1 employees, see something very different on our campuses. Given that what we tolerate, we encourage, we consistently address these problems in the classroom. But in order to be effective, administration must be there to support, not for justification. At this juncture, teachers do not feel supported. We understand the need for social emotional learning and support, but this doesn't mean an absence of accountability. A helping hand is a firm hand. We, HDTA, are there to provide that hand, but we all need to be there together because we are one heart. Thank you.
Thank you, John. We have a speaker card on this topic. Diane Zimmerman. Diane, did you want to speak? Okay, Diane, you may begin.
Thank you. Good evening. Mr. Minkus is very kind, and he's also very, excuse me, courteous, and he has a sense of humor. But I do have a sense of humor as well. And I'm reminded that the California Teachers Association is what our association is attached to out here. And I stand by my urging of everyone to purchase and read the book Standing Up to Goliath by Rebecca Friedman. And that's really all I have to say, because if you've heard me before, you know how I feel. And I'm very concerned about the children. And I'm concerned the number of parents that are being basically abused by the powers that be here, just because they care about their kids. And I happen to care about them too. And I would like to see a little more for all children, and I'm not seeing it. And believe me, I'm checking things out very carefully for both sides. I'm not feeling the way I do because I don't look at the other side, and there's a large group of people that only look at their side here. So thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you, Diane. We're going to move on now to California School Employees Association, Chapter 349. President Janice Dennington has asked Mia Reed to make a report for CSEA, Chapter 349. Mia?
I got applause. Thank you. Governing Board, Cabinet, fellow meeting attendees, on behalf of the California School Employees Association, Chapter 349, it is my pleasure to speak on behalf of our chapter president, Janice Dennington. I would like to show our appreciation to the district for honoring our school lunch heroes, who provide those nourishing meals that fill our bellies and keep our students' energy up and feed their brains so that they're going to be successful in life forever. To our teachers who cultivate that education and that learning that they so need so much. And for the classified school employees who support everybody as a whole. Thank you for recognizing us. Now Janice's words. As we navigate through the spring season, let us keep in mind the well-being of our students, families, and staff. By working together and supporting one another, we can make this a successful and fulfilling time for all. As we are aware, spring is a time of renewal and growth, and this sentiment is reflected in our classrooms and schools. It was also reflected in a new incentive for our classified members seeking advancement in a career of teaching. With this being said, we would like to thank Dr. Nielsen and his committee for partnering with our classified members in offering the C2C grant programs. This grant has provided current classified employees an opportunity to work towards a teaching credential, which we all need. We need teachers, right? I'm hearing a lot of positive feedback from our instructional assistants who have been selected for this program. So thank you, everybody, for giving our classified members this opportunity. Thank you.
You guys had a great barbecue yesterday. It was fun. It was great. It was great to sit there and talk to you.
We worked really hard on the barbecue.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Mia. Next is our school site report. La Mesa Junior High School. We have Colin Welch, the principal, who is here to give a presentation highlighting Strategic Plan Focus Area 2, which is safety and wellness. Welcome, Principal Welch.
Thank you, Board President Jensen, other board members, Superintendent Coleman, and Cabinet, for this honor and privilege to speak on behalf of La Mesa. And really to focus in on the category of safety and wellness. As we look at the categories of safety and wellness, really as I came into La Mesa this year, it'd be my first year at La Mesa to be able to experience the Lobo culture, the climate and culture, to really focus on this area as a really pertinent one to look at our students and how they felt as they entered the gates each and every morning to make sure that they felt safe, that this is a place that they wanted to be and attend, and that they could do so freely and without fear or trepidation. As a little snapshot of La Mesa, you can see that we have a little over 1,000 students on our campus. And this really picture is a reminder to make sure that our campus is inclusive of every student, to make sure that we are reaching and connecting with each of them. At one of our first faculty meetings, as I got to know the campus of La Mesa, one of the activities we asked in a straw poll was, if you could go back in time, would you go back to junior high, high school, college, or live in the now? And it might surprise you that at a junior high campus, not one teacher chose junior high. So as I look at that, I honestly said this to the staff, our goal is to change that perspective. Our goal is so that every student at La Mesa can reflect back on their time and go, I want to go back to those 2 years and realize the specialness, the quality of teachers that are pouring into their lives and striving to make a difference each and every moment. As we look at our safety, these are some of the categories and areas that La Mesa puts in practice each and every day. The main thing I want to talk about and connect to on this slide is Capturing Kids' Hearts and PBIS. Capturing Kids' Hearts, all of our teachers have been trained in this idea of really just connecting with kids. Our number one goal is to make sure that each kid feels like they have a friend, someone they know that knows their name, and that they can come to at any time that they need assistance for any purpose. And all Lobos howl. We strive for them to show honor and integrity, own their actions, work hard, and be a leader on campus. And through those connections with teachers, we can strive and re-implement those reminders to our students. Another category we have is really getting kids to feel connected. That was a main focus of the start of the school year, to have that reconnection, where kids can come in and jump into clubs, where we currently have 13 clubs and looking to expand that, where kids can jump into electives, specialty electives, and really have a place where they can get connected with other kids who are like-minded. We pull from many different elementary schools, and so to come into a junior high campus, as I've gone to elementary schools, can be very daunting, and it is a very nervous stage of life of transition from elementary to junior high. And so if we can do that by creating like-minded activities where kids may be nervous, but they can say, I like robotics. They can go there and find that connection piece with other students who are there. And they can go and jump into sports programs. They can jump into GSA. They can jump into Honor Society. They can jump into Claws clubs. And they can jump into all these pieces that they can help find connection so that they don't have to sit alone. And we strive to do that. We strive to make activities at lunchtime each and every day. In reality, it happened 3 to 4 times a week through ASB and intramural activities, a way to have kids something to either engage in or be entertained by. And so that was a big focus as we came in, to make sure that kids can have an opportunity to be connected before school, during school, and after school if they so choose to be. Our next option and area of wellness is our Hal Hut, which is our wellness center. You can see the number there that was given to me by our social worker, Josh Gratan, who oversees our Hal Hut. The total number of student drop-ins, meaning during brunch, lunch, before school, is well over 5,000 students have dropped in throughout the time from November. You can see the total number of individual sessions there at 221, meaning students may have been referred there by other teachers, or just decided I needed a moment to take a break and I need someone to talk to. And they have scheduled those individual sessions there. Tier 2 is events. We've had a family fun night resource fair. We've had therapy dogs. We have a wellness drum circles. We have lunchtime mindfulness meditations. We have special groups that meet together with our social worker, boys support group, learning skills and habits group, and straightening reins. Through our RTI tutorial lessons, we've been able to handpick and have specialty topics for kids to partake in, ranging from having healthy relationships, improving your self-esteem, setting positive intentions, stress management tips, and identifying positive self-talk. As we continue through, I'd like to recognize a couple students from La Mesa. Isabel and Mike are back in the back. Go ahead and stand for everybody. Isabel and Mike. They're a great example, and they were the producers, editors, and director of this video I'd like to share with you, really bringing this to full picture for you in the area of safety and wellness. So thank you, Isabel and Mike, for your contribution here.
Gloria, what's your favorite thing about your club? What I really love about Circle of Friends is just kind of seeing that, especially through the eyes of our special education students, just seeing how excited they get to see their friends that come to the club and just interacting together, where they normally don't get to do all those sorts of things. We're very blessed here at La Mesa where we have the gamut of special education at our school, which is one of the many things that makes our school so awesome. But in this club, that really blossoms a lot, where you really get to see our special education and general education students work together and just seeing how excited they are for that.
What is your favorite part of being a wellness coordinator?
So, my answer to that has kind of changed throughout the year. Still, one of my favorite things is working with students one-on-one, providing a safe space to talk and build skills to better manage uncomfortable situations and emotions. But throughout the school year, I've also learned that I really enjoy working with our community partners to bring exciting things to La Mesa. Every single week, I work with pet partners to bring therapy dogs here on campus. I've partnered with Straightening Reins to facilitate groups that use animal-assisted therapy. And just recently, we hosted a resource fair during our family fun night where we had 14 agencies come and help support our families.
Okay, what do you mainly do that affects the students?
Can we pause?
Have you participated in, and how has that helped you make La Mesa a fun place for you?
I've done I've done every tournament except the soccer tournament.
So you've done all of which sports?
Football, baseball, dodgeball. That's it. Yeah. And I think it's been more fun. It's just giving me something to do at lunch. I think sometimes I can get bored, but like, it gave me something to do with my friends, and we got more equipment to play, so that's cool.
Thank you.
Give Mike and Isabel a round of applause. Thank you. And that's just a small glimpse into the safety and wellness. It really comes down to the teachers. There's many teachers here tonight from La Mesa. Yeah, let's have them stand as well. Let's give them a round of applause. La Mesa teachers. There you go. There you go. But it really is a family environment, and one that is accomplished by a team. And we hope that we make lasting memories for our young people, and ones they can look back on with fondness as their time at La Mesa. Thank you.
We have two speaker cards, which we'll handle right now, and then we'll have any questions for Nicole Artiega, first of all, and then Mike McGeever.
Good evening. I am Nicole Artiaga, the Exploring Culinary Arts teacher at La Mesa Junior High. I've been a teacher in the Hart District for just over 29 years. When I began my teaching career, I was a wide-eyed 23-year-old full of excitement and passion to teach young kids important life skills. As I stepped into my classroom today for the 5,000th time at least, I still brought with me the excitement and passion I had then. When I began at La Mesa, we were brand new and referred to as the Kingdom on the Hill. We had a lot to live up to. We were the newest school in the district at the time, and we had all the latest and greatest technology. We had students who wore uniforms and a no jeans policy for all staff. My story as a teacher in the Hart District includes many incredible blessings. Meeting my husband at work, building beautiful lifelong friendships, mentoring new teachers, watching my students grow up, get married, and bring their own children back to meet me. I teach some of those children in my classes now, and I work alongside former students that are now Hart District employees. My story, as well as the stories of so many teachers in our district, has included many challenges. I have persevered through boundary changes, bubbling in all of my attendance and grades, socioeconomic decline, new teaching methods, more new teaching methods, years working without a contract, budget cuts, ever-changing technology, losing beloved colleagues and students way too soon, dabbing, bottle flipping, and fidget spinners. And of course, a worldwide pandemic that brought on distance learning and Zoom meetings. This old dog definitely had a lot of new tricks to learn. Every teacher was brought back to that first year of teaching when everything felt new and even a little bit scary. We made it easy while barely staying one step ahead of the students sometimes. What remained through all of those blessings and challenges was a willingness every day to do things even when they were really hard. I stayed at La Mesa even when things changed. Every student at La
Nicole,
Mesa.
I'm sorry, your time's
Yes.
up.
Okay.
Thank you.
But
Next
she
is
loves it.
Mike McGeever. Mike, go ahead, please.
Good evening. My name is Mike McGeever. This is my 10th year at La Mesa. When I think back on the 10 years, to me, there's one word that describes it, and it's change. La Mesa has experienced so much change in the last 10 years. I look back, and in my 10 years, we've only had the same admin team for consecutive years, I think once in my 10 years at La Mesa. And with that, the last few years has been tough on everybody. And I got to the end of last year and had to remind myself something that I always tell new teachers, and it's, if you're not having fun teaching, you're doing the job wrong. And I had to ask myself, can I still live that? Can I still have fun doing this job? The last few years have been very, very difficult. And I told myself I needed change. Lucky for us, we got a whole lot of change this year. I would say a quarter to a third of our certificated staff is new at La Mesa this year. And that has given the veterans a little bit of freedom to reinvent. This year has been a great breath of fresh air for me. The changes we've had and some of the stuff we saw in the video, the intramurals have become such a huge part of the culture on our campus. It keeps kids occupied and busy at lunch. I love being involved in them. I'm probably out involved in them multiple, 2, 3, 4 times a week. And it's just changed the vibe and the energy on our campus. So I'm running out of time, but I just want to say change isn't always bad. It can be good. We're not totally there yet, but I feel like we're very much headed in the right direction, and I hope that we still continue to see positive change.
Thank you,
guys.
Mike. Okay. Board members, do you have any questions for Principal Welch?
Principal Welch, I still think of La Mesa as the new school. And I realize that that's probably a little behind the times. Doing a great job there. I've visited several times, and your staff seems happy and content, and your kids are just amazing. So thank you for what you do.
Other comments? Okay.
Or she does.
Sorry. I know that I attended a staff meeting a few weeks ago, and I just wanted to commend you on the environment that you've created amongst your teachers and other staff members. I know that as a student, you're very much able to tell when the staff has a good relationship, when you see the teachers having fun and you see them being able to joke around and learn how to understand and communicate with one another. And I most definitely saw that at that meeting. It's very present within this presentation, and I just wanted to congratulate you and the school as well. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Any other board comments?
We're on.
Dr. Moore, any
I am
comments?
on. Colin, Mr. Welch, thank you for the great report. Thank you especially for the positive changes that you are bringing and have brought to La Mesa. I'm looking forward to working closely with you next year in a different role at La Mesa. Thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, Dr. Moore.
Principal Welch, thank you very much. Great report. We really appreciate it. Keep up the good work, and all the best to you.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is a special item, appointment of assistant principals. Dr. Nielsen.
Yes, thank you and good evening. It is my pleasure to recommend Lauren Dunn and Brianna Rivera for the position of assistant principals effective July 1st, 2023.
I'm so sorry. move to approve the appointment of these two assistant principals.
Don't we usually hear from them? Second.
After we put them in. Motion by Mrs. Storley, second by Mr. Messina to approve the appointment of Lauren Dunn and Brianna Rivera as assistant principals effective July 1st, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Student board member? And the chair says aye. Motion carries. And would you
Please
like to
forgive
tell us
me, I
something about
got a
them,
little behind there.
Dr. Nielsen?
Yes, please allow me to tell you a little bit about each of our candidates, our new assistant principals, no longer candidates, assistant principals. I'll start with Lauren Dunn. Lauren, you want to stand up, Lauren? Lauren Dunn has taught social studies in the Hart District at Sierra Vista Junior High School since July 2018. Prior to that assignment, she served as a history and language arts teacher in the West Side Union School District from 2009 to 2018. There, she was recognized as Teacher of the Year in 2018 at Hillview Middle School. During her time in the Hart District, Mrs. Dunn has served in a leadership role in many areas for Sierra Vista, including their community and family outreach program, their new teacher orientation program, curriculum development and adoption, and serving as a substitute administrator. Most recently, Mrs. Dunn has been serving as a full-time substitute administrator at Valencia High School this entire spring semester, and she has integrated into that administrative team and provided exemplary leadership. Ms. Dunn has a Bachelor of Arts in History from Cal State University Chico, a master's degree in education from Brandman University, and an administrative services credential from Loyola Marymount University. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating Lauren on her new position.
Lauren, do you have some guests with you tonight that you'd like to introduce? Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, now a little bit about Brianna Rivera. Brianna, please stand up. Brianna comes to the Hart District from the Antelope Valley Union High School District, where she is currently serving as a vice principal at Antelope Valley High School. Before serving as a school administrator, Ms. Rivera taught science at the high school level in the same district from 2016 to 2021, while also serving in the roles of English language coordinator, professional development team member, school site council member, WASC lead, and advanced placement teacher. Prior to her work in the Antelope Valley, she taught science in the Burbank and Compton Unified School Districts. Ms. Rivera has a Bachelor of Arts in Liberal Studies from California State University, Los Angeles, and a master's degree in Educational Leadership and Administrative Services credential from Cal State University, Dominguez Hills. Please join me in welcoming Brianna to the Hart District.
Brianna, do you have any guests or family here with you tonight? Welcome.
I can't see them.
All right, well, congratulations, Lauren and Brianna. Thank you, Dr. Nielsen. We'll move on now to public comment. This is the time set aside to address the governing board on a topic within the board's subject matter jurisdiction that is not listed on the agenda. 20 minutes are allotted for public comment at this time. The first 10 people to submit a speaker card prior to the beginning of the public comment period will be heard. Additional time is set aside later in the meeting for any speaker that was not heard during the first public comment period. Please use the microphone and state your name. No action will be taken on any item not appearing on the agenda, and the board president will limit your comments to 2 minutes. If you wish to speak regarding an item that appears on the agenda, you will be called upon to make your comments at the time the item is discussed by the board. So we have 11 cards, and we will do the first 10 now, and then the 11th one will be done later on in the meeting as designated on the agenda. So our first speaker is Nancy Fairbanks. And after Nancy will be Glenda and then Cindy. So if Glenda and Cindy would line up over by the counter, that would be appreciated.
Good evening. Happy Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. To my disappointment, there is no resolution about Asian American Month on your agenda this evening. During your February 1st board meeting, your agenda included a resolution to recognize Black History Month and Miss Moore gave a nice speech. So let's be honest. If Hart didn't recognize Black History Month, Miss Moore and her friends would have been outraged. Miss Moore, you said on many occasions that you are all about equity, diversity, and inclusion. That was part of your campaign, and you're still listed as a member of the Human Relations Roundtable. If anyone was to take notice that Asian American Month was not included in Hart's agenda this evening, it should have been you. You presented Valerie Bradford of the NAACP with a One Heart Award because, according to you, she courageously advocates for all children and holds you accountable for doing the same. Yet I do not see her here questioning why you didn't recognize Asian American Month during this agenda. Ms. Moore, you stood with Valerie during a press conference and even cried because some high school students saying, "I hate N-word." But you still didn't say publicly about Ms. Storley putting chink multiple times on her Facebook page and refused to remove it. So let's be honest. Valerie, Ms. Moore, you, Valerie, and the NAACP are not here for other minorities. You're only here for the Black community with a goal of making Black lives matter, Black lives better. You could care less about the rest of us and our kids. So stop pretending to advocate for us.
Nancy, your time is up. Thank you. Next up is Glenda, followed by Cindy, followed by Martha. You may begin.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jensen. I want to remind everybody about the Memorial Day Parade that the Saugus High School Marching Band will be in. You can see them on americaveterancenter.org if you want to see the parade. Second, I would like to thank Placer Rita Junior High School for helping out our family. We had a death in the family, and they've been very, very good in helping us out. Third, I would like to say, Mr. Jensen, if people aren't out there in 2 minutes, I know you want to get the heck out of here. Dang, you can be really rude. The last thing I would like to say is I've been doing a little bit of research in the little time that I have, and I'm wondering why each individual deputy superintendent has a secretary, and that secretary has a secretary. Why don't we use that money so that everyone can learn CPR and first aid? That is very important for, I feel, for everybody out there, teachers and the classified as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Cindy, followed by Martha, to be followed by Karen. You may begin.
I'm concerned about the impact of the progressive left ideology being pushed on our children. What's more concerning is we have a board member here who supports this along with the Santa Clarita NAACP. They are misleading our children with their distortion of the truth. Let's start by the unfounded belief that there are more than two genders. It is crucial that we ask how exactly are the biology and the science classes are teaching this radical idea. I would like to ask Ms. Moore and the NAACP if they can provide evidence that scientifically and biblically that in fact there are more than two genders. Our children's education should be based on a scientific principles, not political ideologies that lack substantial scientific backing. Ms. Moore, you claim that you care about mental illness in schools. However, you and your group are promoting ideas that lead to confusion and distress. We call that a hypocrite. Speaking of hypocrites, we cannot ignore the hypocrisy within the NAACP. They claim they advocate for all ethnicities. This month, we should be acknowledging our Asian community. Ms. Moore, can you show me on the NAACP website that they are honoring this ethnicity? Because as of 7:15 tonight, there is nothing. It's clear the Asian community, along with other ethnicities other than the Black community, is not your concern, as they do not fit your agenda. As concerned parents, we all see this and demand an end to the hypocrisy, lies, and manipulation of truth. Our children deserve education that is grounded in facts, encourages critical thinking, and respects diverse perspectives. We are done with the radical ideologies from the progressives. that are destroying this generation. And we will continue to fight for what's right, which is the safety of our children and their future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Martha, followed by Karen, Karen is what it says on here, and then Rebecca Hindman. You may begin.
Oh.
Pardon me?
Did I start yet?
Hang on just a second. Okay. Okay, you may begin.
My name is Martha. I'm a parent, and I have been in Santa Clarita for about 22 years. On February 10th of this year, my son was pushed in the back so hard by another student that he had both of his arms broken. He spent 6 weeks in a cast and a splint, and come to find out that due to the privacy laws that the district continuously hides behind, I was unable to get a meeting with the parent to so much as get a resolution to get some kind of like closure for my son. I was told, in fact, that the parent told me that if my son wanted closure, that he could get it from his son on campus again. A week later, that child came back to campus and started bragging about it. I reported this obviously to the district, but I had to file a police report in order to be able to obtain any information. Now I find out that there is a criminal citation against my son with 2 broken arms, and this was caught on video that he was pushed from behind several minutes after they had their last interaction. Meanwhile, in my process of discovery, I have found a couple of other families as recently as within the last 2 weeks, where another child who had a history of violent and disruptive behavior violently attacked another child at another high school at another junior high school in your district, and a student that stood by and was the first one to intervene because he did not know if he would have time to find an adult or anything, and hit the child that was literally trying to strangle the other one in one of your junior high schools. And now all of the students involved have been punished. They have removed this child that intervened in an attempt to save someone that was being attacked. They took away his 8th grade graduation, and they are also not refunding the money because the policy says that disruptive behavior. That child's cousin was brutally murdered a few weeks ago. I happened to donate the memorial cake for that, and I did not know that they were the same person. Luckily, I am going to be sending them to Universal Studios, but you guys need to do better and stop hiding things from parents. Stop making us hire lawyers to get justice for our kids.
Thank you. Next is Karen, Karen. I don't see anyone, so we'll scratch on that. And so it's Rebecca Hindman, followed by Matt Funicello, followed by DJ Hamburger.
Good evening, Board. My name is Rebecca Hindman, and I am a Saugus parent. One Heart, every student, opportunity ready. We see it right here. I have stood here numerous times talking about the same thing over and over again: bullying, racism, and bigotry. In tonight's agenda, Teen Truth, Carlos Vasquez, and the Flippin' Group are all being hired to help shape our campuses using SEL leadership models, and this is a step in the right direction. Many of our children are taught boundaries and respect at home. This includes being respectful and inclusive of differences. And yet, every day, we have students afraid to use the bathroom, go to certain areas on campus, or even attend school because they fear for their safety. This is because every day, we have students who come to school with a learned fear of those with differences, and they feel empowered to bully or express hate towards those they feel that do not belong. Those who have different sexual preferences and those who are different ethnicities, those who do not conform to their way of thinking. When we allow the behavior to happen on our campuses, we are removing opportunities for those who no longer feel safe. Mr. Messina, you always ask the chosen student speakers if they feel safe. Are they going to tell you the truth here? No. I know you see the truth with the constant videos of the fights and all the expulsions that are happening on your watch. I ask, how are we one heart when there is so much obvious fear-based hate happening every day on our campuses? How does that work for every student when we allow hate and fear to give the families options to opt out of learning that is necessary to participate in our changing world? How are our students opportunity ready when they are bullied or when they do not know all the options this district has to offer? More on that later. It is time to make change. It is time for our community to come together and be united in all of our differences. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Matt Funicello, followed by DJ Hamburger, followed by Santa Rivera. Matt, you may begin.
Thank you. Good evening. First, I'd like to thank Mr. Messina for recognizing Peace Officer Memorial Week tonight. Last year, we lost 246 officers in the line of duty, 60 of them by gunfire. So far this year, we've lost 42 officers in the line of duty, with 19 being by gunfire. As a former deputy sheriff and with a few relatives currently serving, one of which who is in a group of officers today that was ambushed by an armed suspect today, but wasn't hit, thankfully. It hits home for me. These men and women deserve our eternal thanks and gratitude for their service and sacrifice. Second, last month, a book in a school library that contained sexually explicit material was brought to your attention. I want you all to know that we as parents haven't forgotten about that. And we're expecting results from this body to ensure that our kids aren't exposed to that material in school. I'm confident that you all feel the same way, so please let me say that we're all on the same team on that. Lastly, I just got an email today regarding your new cell phone policy. Gotta say, that's been a long time coming. Thank you very much for doing that. I really appreciate it. Too much has been going on in our schools with kids and their cell phones, and I'm damn appreciative of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. DJ Hamburger is next, followed by Santa Rivera, followed by Diane Zimmerman. DJ, you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. I'm here to ask the board to readdress the district's policy on the awarding of charter bus contracts that we use for adult district functions. I was asked April 20th to chaperone Saugus High's prom, and I didn't expect to see the behavior from the charter bus company that I witnessed. I have attached pictures of the behavior for the board tonight. When I arrived after debating what to do as a chaperone with the bus driver in question, when I arrived at the venue, I spoke with the other chaperones about their bus experiences and found that what I witnessed was not out of the norm for this bus company. And this bus company has been complained about by the other chaperones for years, and yet after all these years of complaints, the district still forces us to use the pre-approved list of bus companies. And when wondering if this behavior that I witnessed on the way there was a one-off, I saw on my way back with a different bus driver that we took a very dangerous road on Grimes Canyon, and we swerved into oncoming traffic, and I thought that was atrocious, and I was upset with this. And when I reported it, I got told, yes, we'll report it back to the district office, but ultimately, the charter bus companies that we use are decided by the district. So I asked the board to please look into this policy and please change it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can we look into, or have we had complaints in the past? Can you bring it to the board and let us know if that's happened and what the outcome was if we looked into it? Because it is not the first year I've heard this, so.
Thank you, Mr. Hamburger.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
We will look into it, yes. We're
Yes,
going to move
thank
on.
you, Mr. Hamburger, for speaking up, because we need more people like that.
Okay,
People
Santa,
that are
go
not
ahead. You
afraid
may
to say
begin.
something.
Start it, Mike.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I want to mention that I can see, again, you guys are in another tough spot as politicians continue to try and pass bills that are affecting the relationship between parents and children. You guys are up for another uphill battle. Whether you guys are going to, as I've noticed, at least it seems, work with parents to come with a solution. You guys have an attorney that you guys can always seek help for on finding loopholes as to, or ways to appease what Sacramento, quote unquote, is telling you guys you have to do versus what parents are telling you we want. I don't think that the fight for parents to be the dominant nurturers of our children, because most of us love our children, want to be a part of our children's lives, and want to be the main nurturer as to how our children will be raised, that's not going to change, at least not with this mother right here. And you're not going to stop seeing me because I'm going to speak for those who don't want to or can't or are afraid to. Estoy hablando con ustedes. Padres que están allá afuera están tratando de venir contra nuestros hijos. Quieren hacer cosas atrás de nuestras espaldas. Fíjese bien en lo que están aprendiendo sus hijos. Hablen con los maestros. Si hay gente ahí que tiene miedo de decir algo, vengan aquí a una cita, habla conmigo. Yo les ayudo a hablar con la gente aquí. Si no pueden hablar inglés, yo les ayudo. Pero la cosa es que tenemos que estar más involucrados en las vidas de nuestros hijos, porque las leyes están tratando de separar la relación de padres con hijos y a veces los maestros ayudan y a veces no por las leyes que ellos dicen que tienen que seguir
Thank you, Santa.
usando.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Diane Zimmerman, followed by Steve Petzold. All right, Diane, you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. And I'm addressing you. Mr. Coleman, I would like very much for you to look into the discussion that took place approximately starting 3 hours and 49 minutes into the 3-hour and 59-minute meeting at COC on May 10th of 2023, starting at approximately 5 p.m. It would actually behoove everyone to listen to the whole event. I will not name the specific trustees who spoke their minds at this particular meeting. However, I will tell you that each one was so far off base with their speaking that one of the few remaining members of that were there in person at this meeting felt the need to vomit at the outrageousness. Blatantly slanderous statements being made, alluding to a resident who I happen to believe 100%, and I will put my hand on the Bible, they're referring to Mr. Stephen Petzold. He's been asking legitimate questions as to the actions this group of trustees has taken since 2016, when he first realized something was amiss and possibly rotten in Denmark. Those are my words. Correct me if I'm wrong. This man is one of the most caring, intelligent, honest men I know. They acted as if he was a threat, that they were afraid for their possibly safety. That is slander to the nth degree, on tape for you to hear. Yes, he has looked into each questionable expenditure very carefully and has asked legitimate questions, getting answers in very seldom. So he keeps on asking the same questions. Also, they claim they have spent almost $1 million as of this year, the end of this year, dealing with Mr. Steve Petzold. I'd like a breakdown.
Your time
a
is up.
breakdown, please.
Thank
I'd
you.
like a breakdown.
Thank you, Diane. Okay,
You're
our last
welcome.
speaker is Steve Petzold. Steve, you may begin.
I agree with everything Diane said at first. But I did want to address the issue regarding the Advanced Technology Center that College of the Canyons is building right down here on Valley Center at Soledad. It's very close in proximity here. And to me, there should have been, I don't know what's going on at Castaic with the technology center there. They say that that's coordinated with COC. I don't know what that means, but certainly when you're using bond money, and COC is using Measure E bond money, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee is encouraged to look at joint use facilities. And I believe that this is an excellent opportunity to have a joint use facility for advanced technology, which I guess is welding and CDC or CNC, whatever it might be, to work with the Hart District on that so that we are fully utilizing the money. Now, I don't know what happened to the relationship between Hart District and COC, but it seems to be that there's a problem there that inhibits the ability of you to save taxpayer money by joining with them. So I would like you to talk to them over the next several years about how you can work together to integrating that facility for welding and CNC design, whatever they do there, so that we can maximize the use of taxpayer dollars. I think it's important so that the people of this community can come together and join together in that. So I'm going to leave it at that, but I thank you very much for the opportunity to
Thank you,
address
Steve.
Mr. Pitzel, I'll just take a quick opportunity because it's an encouraging note. I agree with your sentiment and wanted to share with you that we are actually
Steve,
working.
he's talking to you. Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Wanted to let you know we have been in regular conversation, and our kids will be using that program. That when they open that up, it's open to our students through our well, I can assure you that we're having regular conversations, and the concurrent enrollment, that's really what that's for. I mean, their students really are our students, and they increasingly blend, meaning, you know, our sophomores, juniors, and seniors are taking courses both on our campuses and through the COC facility. So I agree with you. I think it would be a travesty if that was created and there was no conversation, but there's regular ongoing conversation about that. Dr. Hoffman, after I read that article, she and I had a conversation. I just wanted to assure you and the community that this will be a facility that is used both by the Hart District and COC. So
Thank you, Mike. Okay, our public comments have concluded. We will now have information items. We have 3 of them. The first one is Dr. Nielsen and initial bargaining proposal from the HDTA to the William S. Hart Union High School District.
Thank you again, and good evening. This item is the first step in a two-step process. In its initial bargaining proposal, HDTA is indicating its intent to negotiate within 13 different articles and 3 appendices. This is a successor agreement year, so both sides are able to open and address more than just 3 articles in the collective bargaining agreement during this negotiating year. A little bit later in the board meeting, we will have a public hearing, and the board will take action.
Thank you, Dr. Nielsen. Dr. Nielsen, you're up again now for initial bargaining proposal from William S. Hart Union High School District to the HDTA.
Yes, similarly, this item is also the first step in a two-step process. In the district's initial bargaining proposal to HDTA, we are indicating our intent to negotiate within 6 articles in the contract.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, our next informational item is the Personnel Commission budget for 2023-24 year. John Anthony Maraki. There he is, okay. John Anthony, you're up.
Good evening, board and public. So tonight we'll be going over the first reading for the proposed Personnel Commission budget for 23-24. I did work with Fiscal Services to go over the numbers, and just so you don't get sticker shock, I know that operating expenses, that's quite a huge leap there, but 81,120 of that is towards the salary study that we're currently performing for the classified staff, which is a fully comprehensive salary study, which will be looking at every classified management, and non-exempt classification, their current salary compared to the market. So it's a rather large study. That's why that is a large dollar amount. This is roughly 2/3 of the project that's left, as we have been working on the project this year. So really the operational budget is around $30,336, taking out that one time for the salary study. And that is focused around our 2 testing software systems, our applicant tracking system, our government jobs postings for our job announcements, as well as our CSPCA membership for the year. Are there any questions about the budget?
Questions from the board? I do have a couple of questions. So I see what you're saying about the increase in the operating expenses, and that makes sense, though it seems like an awful lot of money to spend on a salary survey, just in my opinion. I'm concerned, though, about the increase in the employee benefits and also in the secretaries and clerks. From 21-22 to 22-23, the clerk and secretary salary increased by $36,000, and now it's going up by $67,000.
Yes, so I believe.
And
oh,
that's a
sorry.
pretty significant, it was a significant jump the year before, and now it's almost doubled for this year.
Yep. So part of that is the 10% increase to salaries across the board. And we are fully staffed now. So we do have our 2 analysts, our human resources technician, our human resources assistant 2, administrative assistant. Yeah, those staff are all now fully staffed. And so we are expecting that that will be the salaries for all staff for the 23-24 year. So that's also why there's a large jump there. We were basically behind 1 employee as other employees promoted, so we kind of were carrying 1 vacancy for about a year and a half.
And the other one is the employee benefits, increased by $35,000 the year before, and now it's another $35,000. You know, if we're going to keep going up by $35,000 every year, we're not going to make it. I mean, that's just the reality of it.
No, absolutely.
And I'm a certified public accountant, so I know numbers very well, budgets and inflation and all sorts of things. So those are pretty significant increases every year. Some of that's out of our control, so to speak. It's dictated from California, but I think something needs to be done and addressed to deal with that, because it's unsustainable to increase that by $35,000 every year.
Okay, yeah, I can work
we'll go
with
broke.
Ralph, and yeah, absolutely.
Quite candidly.
I can work
So-
with Ralph and see if there's anything we can do about
Okay.
that.
I think it's always prudent to be looking into these things and not just kind of accept it. I'm not saying you are, but with blindfolded eyes and just kind of go, it is what it is, because maybe there's something that can be done. So it's prudent for me to share my concerns and thoughts, because we need to draw those things out so that we can analyze it further and make sure there's nothing else that can be done.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And
So-
same thing, I read a study, my IO brain kicks in, I start looking at what was the analysis, what was the post hoc, so totally understand it. That makes sense to me.
So let's look into those things. Thank you for your presentation and for your comments. Appreciate it, and we'll go forward from there.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Any
thank
other
you.
questions?
Nope.
Thank you
We're
very much. Have a good night.
Thank you, John Anthony.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen.
Okay, we're moving on now to our action items, and we have moved up item N to the first action item. Mr. Kuhlman has that presentation. Following that presentation, we do have 2 speaker cards.
Thank you, President Jensen. On May 2nd, 2023, the Los Angeles County Office of Education received notification of the vacancy on the William S. Hart Union High School District Governing Board resulting from the resignation of board member James Webb. So in accordance with Ed Code Section 591A, the Hart District Governing Board has 60 days from the date of the vacancy by which to make a provisional appointment to fill the remainder of Mr. Webb's term, which runs until November 2024. A provisional appointment confers all powers and duties of a governing board member upon the appointee immediately following his or her appointment. If the board chooses not to make an appointment, the other option is to conduct a special election to fill the remainder of the vacant term. The individual elected will serve until the organizational board meeting in December of 2024, when a new 4-year term will be filled by regular election. I would like the board to be aware that we were in contact with Los Angeles County, and we were informed that the cost of a special election would exceed $250,000. And now the board has the opportunity to discuss and take action on whether to appoint or to choose for a special election.
Thank you, Mike. Well, before we do that, we'll go to 2 speaker cards that we have. First is Rebecca Heinman.
Hello again. Thank you, Mr. Kuhlman, for finding out those facts. I do know it's usually over $200,000 for special elections. Therefore, I am here to support appointing, I would like to ensure, though, if we are appointing, I do appreciate the board's time. It will take time for here in public hearings, but I would like, if we are going to appoint someone to the board, that we make sure that we do a thorough background check on the nominees. That would be coming, including any restraining orders or criminal history, or including assault and or bad behaviors towards others, to ensure that if they are running a business or a charity, that it is legitimate and properly filed and wouldn't have any tax questioning or criminal activity in that respect. I also would hope that the people that we do have do understand that privacy of subjects that do come to the board should not be revealed in a national platform or in local publications, that they understand the procedures of the board are to be followed and not used for their own political, personal, or financial agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Steve Petzold. Is Steve here to speak?
He left, but maybe he's sitting outside.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Mr. Coleman, thank you for your comments. Do we have comments, discussion
Yes.
from the board?
Okay. I balk at $250,000 for a year. I do understand the politics of this. My particular area of expertise is political parties and elections. And I do understand that if we appoint someone, it's kind of giving them an edge up. But I also balk at $250,000 for a one-year service. So I agree with everything that was said by the last speaker. We need to make sure I've found out that we will interview these people, we do background checks, we look into them, and I just personally can't see money thrown away on an election that could be solved if we just waited a year. I do see the political ramifications of appointments, so I'm kind of in the middle there, but $250,000 can go a long way to do some pretty amazing things in schools.
I think we obviously do the checks we can do as prescribed by law. I do agree with you, $250,000 for 14 months is not good. I believe Dr. Moore's still on the line with us. Dr. Moore was appointed by this board in a process that worked out very well. And I think I would move that we go with the appointment and look at the process that we used to appoint Dr. Moore.
Dr. Moore, did you have a comment?
No comment. I second the motion.
Okay, so we have, and I just wanted to mention, I am not excited about spending $250,000 plus either for the same thoughts that Mrs. Storley had, and I do think that a provisional appointment is the most appropriate way to go. So we have a motion by Mr. Messina, second by Dr. Moore, to make a provisional appointment rather than a special election. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student board member? And the chair says aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
May I highlight the timeline there,
Yes.
folks? So now that the board has voted to appoint, wanted to make sure that the public sees the timeline, which will be available on our website. We will release this posting tomorrow, and that will include the application online. The deadline for turning in the applications will be June 15th. On June 21st, applicants will be notified in writing of the date and time of their interview, and interviews will take place in public session on June 28th at a special meeting, and the oath of office will be administered on July 19th.
Mr. Coleman, for those who couldn't write that fast, it's already up on our website in the agenda.
Wonderful.
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Coleman. Thank you, board, for your comments. We'll move on now to item O, which we have also moved up to the start of our action items. Mr. Coolman?
I move to appoint Dr. Moore as the new assistant clerk.
Confused.
I do.
I'm confused.
Well, we have an opening for the assistant clerk. We
Oh,
need to fill that opening.
I see.
Yeah.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
If she moves up to assistant clerk, will that minimize her time on being moved into the regular position of clerk?
No.
Okay,
No, because it just follows
just the
the
short
regular
time.
process.
She'll be
'Cause
clerk next year,
that
one
seat
way or
to
the
your
other.
left is vacant right now.
Got
So
it. Thank you.
do we have there's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley to nominate and elect Dr. Sharice Moore as new assistant clerk for the term of May to December 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student board member? And the chair says aye.
Do we have?
I'm sorry, we do have two public comments. We'll go to them right now. Diane Zimmerman.
Since this is on the agenda as a topic, am I allowed to get answers? You can answer if I ask a question?
Oh, you can just make your comments and.
Okay, I think that goes against something, but
The meeting's
I'll
not
check that
about
out.
dialogue with us and you.
Okay. No, I mean, a question could be answered by you. I know my time is running, but I just would like to say that I'm hoping that you, in placing whatever person you're placing in that chair, that you really take into consideration the best thing for all children. And let us know how they're doing, and I guess we get to hear them interview. You can shake your head yes or no. It sounded like that to me, but anyway, just be careful. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Santa. You may begin.
Hi. Actually, I had confused the N and the O. I thought that this was where you guys were going to discuss who you guys were going to, how you guys were going to work into getting somebody to fill the vacant seats. So you guys already voted on it anyways, but I had confused the agenda item. I thought you guys were going to vote on somebody for the chair now. Thank you.
Okay. We will move on in the agenda. Back to item A, public hearing and acknowledgement of the HDTA initial proposal with the William S. Hart Union High School District. Dr. Nielsen.
Mr. Jensen, I believe you have a script for the public hearing.
Okay. The board now opens the public hearing to consider acknowledgement of the Hart District Teachers Association initial proposal for negotiations with the William S. Hart Union High School District for the 2023-24 school year.
Under Government Code Section 3547A, the board must hold a hearing regarding initial proposals of exclusive representatives and of public school employers, which relate to matters within the scope of representation. The board will now hear public comments on HDTA's initial proposal to the district.
Is there anyone present who wishes to provide comments on the Hart District Teachers Association initial proposal for negotiations with the William S. Hart Union High School District for the 2023-24 school year? If there are no more comments or no comments at all, I declare the public hearing closed.
Staff recommends that the board acknowledge the Hart District Teachers Association's initial proposal for negotiations with the William S. Hart Union High School District for the 2023-24 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley. All in favor?
Aye.
Student board member? And the chair says aye.
Dr. Moore?
Aye.
Okay, now we'll move on to item B, which is public hearing and acknowledgement of the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the Hart District Teachers Association. The board now opens the public hearing to consider adoption of the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the Hart District Teachers Association for the 2023-24 school year.
Under Government Code Section 3547A, the board must hold a hearing regarding initial proposals of exclusive representatives and of public school employers, which relate to matters within the scope of representation. The board will now hear public comments on the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the Hart District Teachers Association.
Is there anyone present who wishes to provide comments on the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the Hart District Teachers Association for the 2023-24 school year? If there are no comments, I declare the public hearing closed.
Staff recommends that the board adopt the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the Hart District Teachers Association for the 2023-24 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Student board member? And the chair says aye. Thank you. Item C is public hearing and acknowledgement for CSEA with the Hart School District. The board now opens the public hearing to consider acknowledgement of the California School Employee Association Chapter 349 initial proposal for negotiations with the William S. Hart Union High School District for the 2023-24 school year.
Under Government Code Section 3547A, the board must hold a hearing regarding initial proposals of exclusive representatives and of public school employers, which relate to matters within the scope of representation. The board will now hear public comments on CSEA's initial proposal to the district.
Were any comments received regarding the California School Employee Association Chapter 349 initial proposal for negotiations with the William S. Hart Union High School District for the 2023-24 school year? If there are no comments, I declare the public hearing closed.
Staff recommends that the board acknowledge the California School Employees Association Chapter 349 initial proposal for negotiations with the William S. Hart Union High School District for the 2023-24 school year.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Storley, second by Mr. Messina. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student board member? And the chair says aye. Motion carries. All right, our last public hearing is item D. The board now opens the public hearing to consider adoption of the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the California School Employees Association Chapter 349 for the 2023-2024 school year.
I bet you know what I'm going to say.
I bet we
Under
do.
Government Code Section 3547A, the board must hold a hearing regarding initial proposals of exclusive representatives and of public school employers, which relate to matters within the scope of representation. The board will now hear public comment on the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the California School Employees Association, Chapter 349.
Well stated. Were any comments received regarding the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the California School Employees Association, Chapter 349 for the 2023-2024 school year? If there are no comments, I declare the public hearing closed.
Staff recommends that the board adopt the William S. Hart Union High School District's initial proposal for negotiations with the California School Employees Association, Chapter 349 for the 23-24 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs.
Give it to
Storley,
Dr. Moore.
second by Dr. Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student board member? And the chair says aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Nice job, Dr. Nielsen. Thank you, board. All right, we're going to move on. Boy, for some reason I'm hungry right now. Recognition of School Lunch Hero Day, May 5th, 2023. Ralph Peschik. Jersey
you.
Mike sandwich in the back. Are there still any out there?
Yeah, there's no school food service people here, unfortunately, to help us, Mr. Jensen. Mr. Jensen, members of the board and community, between preparing healthy meals for Hart District students, adhering to strict federal and state nutrition standards, navigating school food allergies, and offering service with a smile, school nutrition professionals are true heroes. School Lunch Hero Day is celebrated the first Friday in May. It's a chance to showcase the different school nutrition professionals make for each child who comes through the cafeteria each day. School Lunch Hero Day provides you with a perfect opportunity to recognize the hardworking professionals in our school cafeterias, and was founded through a partnership between the School Nutrition Association and Jared J. Krososka, who is the author of the Lunch Lady book series, to remind everyone, directors, managers, parents, students, and school staff, that school nutrition employees are superheroes that deserve some special recognition. At this time, staff recommends the board acknowledge School Lunch Hero Day, which was May 5th of 2023, and approve this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley. Well stated, Ralph. Well stated. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. Okay, we have another resolution For Week of the Teacher, the week of May 8th through 12th, Resolution 22/23-44, Dr. Vieira.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. May 8th through 12th was Teacher Appreciation Week, and we would like to recognize all of the teachers in the William S. Hart Union High School District for the selfless and dedicated support given to all of our Hart District students. There are many factors that contribute to student success, but research has confirmed what we all know: teachers matter most. With that thought in mind, we'd like to acknowledge and thank our teacher professionals for the daily work with students that has a lasting impact on not only the students, but our community. As Mr. Minkus mentioned earlier, this was on the last agenda, but we were able to send something out to all of our staff prior to the week. But it is recommended that the board approve resolution number 22/23-44, recognizing the Week of the Teacher.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Storley, second by Mr. Messina to approve resolution number 22/23-44, recognizing May 8th through 12th, 2023 as Week of the Teacher. Thank you to all of our teachers. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Student board member? And the chair says aye. Thank you, Dr. Vieira. And Dr. Vieira, you have the next one on Classified School Employee Week.
Yes, I do. Thank you. We're also pleased tonight to recognize the dedicated service of our classified school employees. Our classified employees are usually the first on our campuses each morning and the last on site in the evenings, dedicated to supporting the education of our students. We recognize and thank our respected classified school employee education partners who oftentimes work behind the scenes to ensure that our students have access and support. It is for these reasons and many more that we acknowledge our classified employees and recommend that the board approve resolution number 22/23-45, recognizing May 21st through 27th, 2023 as Classified School Employee Week.
So moved.
Second.
Enthusiastically.
Motion by Mrs. Storley, second by Mr. Messina to approve resolution number 22/23-45, recognizing May 21 through 27 as Classified School Employee Week. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Student board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. Thank you to all of our classified employees. Appreciate all that you do. Okay, next is Mr. Peshek. This is a resolution for authorizing cash transfers between funds for the year 2023/2024.
Thank you, President Jordan, members of the board. The next two items, H and I, are annual recurring resolutions before the board. H, California Ed Code 42603 authorizes inter-fund transfers subject to state conditions and requirements. The governing board of any school district may direct that monies held in any fund or account may be temporarily transferred to another fund or account of the district to assure proper cash flow and that we can make payments on our obligations. Such transfers must be repaid to the original fund within the same fiscal year, or if the transfer takes place within the final 120 calendar days of a fiscal year at the beginning of the following fiscal year. Each transfer can only occur if the fund receiving the money will earn sufficient income during the current fiscal year to repay the amount transferred, and no more than 75% of any fund can be transferred at any time. This resolution assures that staff has the ability to make sure our bills are paid on a timely basis and assure proper cash flow. At this time, I ask the board to approve resolution 22/23-41, authorizing cash transfers between funds for fiscal year 23-24.
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made by Mr. Messina with a second by Mrs. Storley to approve this cash transfer resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Student board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Ralph. You have the next one on the delegation of admin authority.
Thank you. Resolution number 22/23-42 allows the business office team, with the superintendent's approval, to prepare and submit routine budget revisions, transfers, technical adjustments within or between expenditure accounts or within or between resources necessary for the payment of district obligations, to LACO for processing prior to a governing board approval. All routine budget revisions will be submitted to the governing board for review and adoption and ratification with the district's interim reports and in conjunction with the annual year-end closing of the district's financial records. Again, this is a routine process for the district. Unlike the previous resolution, this allows us to make minor adjustments between budget lines. If a school site has a budget of $10,000 and they need to move some of that to a different account string to pay for something else, and they're making a budget decision there, this allows us to make that revision in a timely manner without having to bring it back to the board a month or 2 months, and then the school's waiting to move forward with something they need done.
And how long must we, when can we pay it back? When must we pay it back?
So this one is actually budgets, not borrowing.
Okay.
And so this is,
Different.
it's like moving money from your, one account to another to make sure you can pay for something. So at this time, staff recommends the board adopt resolution number 2223-42 for the 2023-24 school year.
I'm sorry, I have one more question, Ralph, I'm sorry. The difference between this one and the previous one was borrowing money from bucket A to B, but having to pay it back to A.
Yes.
Within a certain time period.
Yes.
Tell me the distinction.
Sure, and so this one is, I have a $10,000 budget, and originally I was going to use it to buy paper for the copier machines. I realized that I only need $7,500 worth of paper this year, and I'm going to use that $2,500 somewhere else. So this allows the school site to say, hey, Brittany, Ralph, fiscal team, make this budget, change my budget to reflect this so that I can use that on something else that the students need.
Thank you for the clarification. I just needed to be absolutely sure what I was agreeing to.
All right, do we have a motion?
I moved it.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley to approve resolution number 22/23-42. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Student board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. Okay, we will now move on to J, final adoption of textbooks, instructional materials for 2023-24. Dave LeBaron. I will note right now we do have 4 speaker cards. We'll hear from Mr. LeBaron first, and we'll have the speaker cards after that.
By the way, Mr. President, I like that. I like to hear the expert first and then hear the comments instead of the other way around.
Good.
All ready?
Yes.
All right. Well, good evening, Governing Board and District Administration. I'm here this evening seeking your approval for the use of these 3 materials that I have been set before you. The materials are McGraw-Hill's Reveal Math for Math 7 and Math 8. Those are the books right here. Pearson's The Cultural Landscape for AP Human Geography, this book here. And Bedford Friedman and Worth's American Government, Stories for a Nation for AP Government, this book right here. Last month, these materials came before you for your recommendation to begin the adoption process, and they have sat since then for public review and input. I have them here this evening seeking your approval for their adoption and use in our classes. All 3 of these publications are what are called hybrid programs. That means there are 2 components, the hard copy version, what you see, the books sitting in front of you, as well as a very robust digital piece as well. The Reveal book here, the hard copy, is a consumable. That means that students may write their notes directly on the pages of the text, their homework on the pages of the text, and tear out and submit their work. Pages are perforated for homework submissions. These books are not reused each year. They are given new books every fall for their classes. I also said these books have a very robust digital side as well. That's important because the digital side allows access anywhere you can find access to the internet to these books. and the materials and supports that come with them, whether it be study guides, whether it be video pieces, whether it be teacher assignments. All of those are accessible anywhere. And if students don't have access, their Wi-Fi at home may be weak, maybe they lose the connection at home, they can actually download it at school onto their device, take it home, work with it, bring it back the next day and upload it into the system. It's also important to know all these publications are device agnostic. Doesn't matter what you're using, your phone, cell phone, iPad, Chromebook, they all work just fine with any device. The Reveal Math is written to the National College Core State Standards for math for grade 7 and math 8. Cultural Landscapes in American Government are written with assistance from the College Board to help prepare students for successful completion of the AP exams in those subjects. Both publications include AP-style practice items that align with the recent changes in the AP exam, such as multiple choice free response and argumentative questions. Just important to know that the AP government textbook is by far, this book here, the most popular book used in AP classrooms across the country. With me tonight, I have Mrs. Darcy Rojas, who teaches AP Human Geography at West Ranch High School, and Mrs. Marissa Rush, who teaches AP Government at Golden Valley High School. And if you have any questions we can answer, we'd love to do so before you take action on this item.
Okay, thank you, Mr. LeBaron. We'll go to our speaker cards right now.
Sure.
And the first one is Rebecca Hindman, followed by Glenda, and followed by Diane Zimmerman. And after Diane is Santa. You may begin.
Thank you, Mr. LeBaron, for such great book choices. I'm here to support the books, especially for AP. Our advanced placement programs need to stay concurrent and up to date with the AP national program so that we are nationally recognized as AP accredited. This is important for our students who are going on to college, and they use that for college credit and or entrance into college. As a parent myself of a senior, let me tell you, these APs help a lot in their future endeavors. I know that this AP American Government may be controversial to those that believe certain conspiracies, but our children do need to know who was elected in 2020, and this book does reference that. So please make sure that we stay accredited and that we are up to date and current so our students can succeed and go forward in their futures with a strong education. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Glenda, followed by Diane, followed by Santa.
Well, originally I was going to ask what these books were, but you know what? American Government, we need to find out who the heck won the election in 2020. Seriously? We need to learn about the past. If you learn about the past, you're not going to make the same mistakes. So I'm really upset about this, and I thought I heard something about foreign nation and the fact that these are the books that are being used across the country. I don't give a crap about across the country. I give a crap about this district. My grandson, he's also an AP. I don't want him learning about what the heck happened in 2020. I want him to learn what happened back in 1776, 1800s, what was it, 1941. I don't want them to learn about this crap. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Diane, you're next. All right, Diane, you may begin.
You know, actually, I'm very, very concerned that you would be teaching history about something that's not history yet. And I know Mrs. Hindman and I disagree on a lot, and probably that particular election we disagree as well. But I wouldn't want this taught no matter which way it was going. You don't teach history until it's history. And that's not history yet by far, buddies. And I'm sorry to call you buddies, but because you're really not my friends. But the thing is, what Glenda said about, so a book is popular throughout the country, does that really make it a good book? And is that all that is done? Oh, well, this has 90% approval with a lot, it's in all these schools and well, that must be a good book, so we'll just take it. Or sort of like, oh, let's elect this person, or let's pass this and then we'll read it later, so that, you know, and that's what has been done here before, where a book, a curriculum has been approved so that it could be read. And there's somebody in government right now that approved a whole, you know, gazillions of dollars because they had to approve it so they could see what it was. And that's what I feel is being done And I'm sorry because it breaks my heart to talk like this, but I don't feel things are looked into. And definitely, come on, you've got to not let the kids learn history that's not history yet. I mean, I'm not even history yet, okay? I have a lot left to do. So let's not, please, at least don't pass that one, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker is Santa. Santa, you may begin.
Thank you. Hello again. So I was just curious, since I've noticed that some policies have had to either be updated, put into place, maybe even challenged, as to what the policy would be if something was found in the books to not be legit. How would that policy be? Is there a process? Could we maybe get all the books with the perforation so we can pull out maybe inserts, add inserts? Because like some of the previous speakers said, when I learned history, it wasn't current as far as the past 3 to 5 years. There's been a lot of controversy, and there's been a lot of things that 3, 4 years ago were sworn up and down to people that it was the truth, and we have come to find out that a lot of it isn't. Call it conspiracies, whatever you want to call it. The thing is, what I want to know is, fine, you guys want to put these books up there? A parent sees something, they disagree, they research it, bring you the research. What's the policy of how you can either change the pages, do some inserts, have a child have a different option, or what the policy basically, what kind of policy, let's get ahead of the game here. Let's figure out what the policy we can put together, because this is going to be very controversial. And I think that if we can try and figure out a way that we could accommodate, since we want to be equitable and we want to make sure that we ensure to include everybody, right, with the diverse opinions of people. So maybe we should put those things into place as well by figuring out other ways in which we could, like I said, my suggestion would be maybe you can tear out some of those pages, or maybe we can add inserts. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so board, do you have any questions for Mr. LeBaron?
I was just going to say, teaching from a history book that was ancient when I got it, and I taught from it for 20 years, we did find things in the book that were not correct. One of them, the Rosenbergs, we believed they were both guilty. We found out halfway through my teaching that Mrs. Rosenberg wasn't. The first thing we did as soon as the news came out is we stopped and re-looked at the book, and we did have, as someone just suggested, we had inserts to put into the books where it was found later to be not true. The book was printed with the belief that it was, and as we went on, and teachers spot things all the time that were little inconsistencies, and we did find ways to teach the correct thing until we find out, later that we didn't know that. But I think basically I want to say something about the American government book. It's not a history book. It's an American government book. And as an American government teacher for all those years, it's not the same as a history book. It's teaching how our government was formed, how our government works, how our government's supposed to work. And I'm so thankful that we have a government that if it's not working correctly, there are provisions in place that I'm sure are taught in that book on how we can correct things if they're wrong. So the difference between a government textbook and a history textbook are vastly different. Thank you, Mr. LeBaron, and I have shoes on. Just thought I'd tell you.
Can I make a comment really quickly as well? So again, I am not an expert on the parental perspective or the teacher perspective. I am, however, an expert on the student perspective, more specifically the AP student perspective. I've taken APs all 4 years at Golden Valley, and this year I was honored to take Ms. Rush's AP government class. And while she did an amazing job teaching the the content necessary to pass the AP exam, I will say that she had to jump through hoops in order to teach us what we needed to know nationally in order to compete with the other students in the other states and cities. I believe that I know for a fact that the AP government book that we are using currently does not even have all of the required Supreme Court cases. And if we were to go based off of that book solely, we would not have a chance at passing. So, again, cannot speak for the teacher or parental perspective, but coming from the students, more specifically the AP students, we do need an updated book that covers more current American government and politics. Thank you.
Dave, you and I have had conversations, and there's stuff in those books that it doesn't complete the story, and I get it on the history side. On the government side, over and over again, I keep reading in there how we need to save the democracy. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. And I think that that's how you start setting the foundation for them not knowing the truth. And I don't know how you fix that.
Sorry? Was that a question? I missed it.
No, he just said he
It's
didn't.
just a comment.
So
I mean,
do you
we
need a
get white out
motion?
and go through and fix them all if we want, but.
Do you need a motion?
This is an action item, yes.
I move that we adopt Resolution 2223-42. I'm in the wrong place. Sorry.
Item J.
One more down. One more down. Okay, sorry. I've got it now. I recommend that we approve the Cultural Landscape and Introduction to Human Geography Presidential Election Update American Government, Stories of a Nation, Reveal Math Course Number 2, and Reveal Math Course Number 3 for use in the beginning of the 23-24 school year.
We have a motion by Mrs. Storley. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Storley, second by Dr. Moore to approve these books as stated by Mrs. Storley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student Board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. Thank you.
Nice.
Okay, we're going to move on now to our next item, which is Hart High School site-based decision. Dr. Nielsen.
Thank you again. Hart High School held a site-based decision vote from March 29th through 30th, asking staff to decide upon keeping their current schedule or moving to a 7-period schedule with a single brunch. 92% of staff voted for the new schedule. At our last board meeting, the governing board expressed some concern regarding the reduction of instructional minutes per period, even though the proposed schedule still meets the number of instructional minutes required by the state. To assist tonight, I've asked Hart High School Principal Jason Dotremont to be here to speak to the issue of instructional minutes and classroom efficiencies the school is implementing.
Thank you, Dr. Nielsen. President Jensen, school board members, I wanted to share with you just our process and how we arrived at this site-based decision for Hart High School. Starting in the spring semester of this year, we had a schedule committee that consisted of 7 teachers and myself, and we gave a variety of surveys to staff to talk to them about what they would like in a schedule. As you know, we moved to this current schedule this year with the 8:30 a.m. start time due to the state of California's regulation in that regard. And some of the main things that came out of these committee meetings were things such as efficiency and a way we're supporting teachers in doing such. And as you heard earlier, the junior high schools are going to do a no cell phone policy on their campuses. At Hart High School next year, we're talking about no cell phones in classes whatsoever, having phone pouches, and how that efficiency helps in going down in period minutes, as you noted at the last school board meeting, is teachers can take roll in a much more efficient manner, and they won't have as many distractions during class time, perhaps. This whole year, and you heard in my last school board report, we've made a very large effort towards common formative assessments during classes, during subject-alike periods. This can also help with the efficiency. So I think the main discussion point was going from a 55-minute class period to a 50-minute class period. And as was noted last board meeting as well, a lot of our schools that go on a block schedule have 100-minute periods. They do those every other day. At Hart High School, we have a daily 50-minute period, this year 55-minute period, as you noted. And the reason for such, and other high schools in our district that still have a traditional schedule, is for our purpose, we have a large majority of English learner students, and to have those students and see them daily is very, very important to their educational process. So even with 50 minutes, we feel like we can be just as efficient and effective in the classroom as we were this year with a 55-minute period.
Okay, thank you, Principal Dotremont. We do have a speaker card on this, Steve Petzold.
Well, first of all, I wanted to note that perhaps there may have been a Brown Act violation here tonight, and that if you allowed Sharice Moore to teleconference from Virginia, then you had to allow public comment via teleconference. Okay. Okay. I trust Debbie on that, but that's my understanding. So I would defer to Mr. Jason Dotremont regarding this issue, and I agree with him on that. I did want to just briefly talk about the vacancy situation. I understand that you moved that ahead of when I was able to speak, but certainly I want you to honor the fact that this should be in an open session. I just went through this situation with COC. They were passing ballots. They were talking to each other while they're voting. They conducted a serial meeting in front of a group of in an open session, and it was atrocious. So I want you to make the applications public. I want to be able to see where these people live. I want to make sure they live in the district. I want to see their work history for the last 10 years. Don't redact their last 10-year work history, because I will file complaints with the FPPC if I see any deviation from what they put on their application. So you redact it, I can't see it, I'll come back and get it, and I'm going to file a complaint. You have to be honest. You have to be open. You have to be able to ask them questions. You don't follow this rubric of, well, we can't ask anybody any other questions than what's on here. You know, that is not Brown Act compliant. You better be Brown Act compliant. I'm watching. And by God, you better abide by the Open Act. No secret votes, preliminary or final.
Your time's up. Thank you. Okay, site-based decision, Hart High School. Board members, any questions or additional comments? It's an action item.
I move to approve the site-based decision at Hart High School for the 23-24 school year.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Storley, second by Mr. Messina to approve the site-based decision for Hart High School for the 2023-24 school year. All in favor?
Aye.
Dr. Moore? I think she's, okay. Student board member? Okay. And the chair says aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion carries. Dr. Moore is 3 hours ahead of us, so it sounds like she has signed off for the night, understandably so. Okay, we have two more action items, and Mr. Otofka, it's so good to see you. I knew that you would inevitably end up being here tonight. And,
Good to see you too, Mr. President.
So
and
your
board
first
members.
item is the bottle filler replacement project.
Yes, on April 12th, 2023, the district received an open bids for the bid package WSH 2304A, the district-wide bottle filling station project. The contractors submitting proposals in their respective bids are attached. This is a single contractor bid for the entire scope of work. I want to let you know that the scope of work has changed from what we discussed last July when you approved the fees for bid document preparation. Our initial plan was to replace 15 pedestal bottle filling stations with new ones, replace 2 wall-hung drinking fountains, and add approximately 70 bottle filler accessory units at schools across the district. At that meeting, I said that depending on the overall cost, this estimate of bottle filling stations may be revised. During the bid document phase, we discovered it was more involved, meaning more costly, to install the bottle filler units than we had originally planned. Since we had a fixed budget of $250,000, we had to adjust the number of bottle filler stations we could do with that budget. With this revised scope of work, we are adding at least one bottle filling station to all of the high schools and junior high schools, including Golden Oak and Bowman. And we're adding an additional bottle filling station at Arroyo Seco, Placerita, and Sierra Vista Junior High Schools. So at those three schools, we're adding 2 bottle filling stations. So in total, we're adding 18 bottle filling stations with this project. Due to the cancellation of the May 3rd governing board meeting and the time-sensitive nature of the funding for this project, staff has awarded this bid. Staff is requesting that the board ratify the bid award to the lowest responsible bidder, K&K Construction Corporation. Are there any questions?
Board, any questions or comments?
I move to ratify award of bid package WSH 2304A for the bottle filler replacement project at various sites to K&K Construction Corp.
So moved. I second.
Mrs. Storley has the motion. Mr. Messina has the second to approve the bottle filler replacement project as stated by Mr. Otofka. All in favor?
Aye.
Student board member? Aye. Chair says aye. All right, Mr. Otofka, you're down to our final action item before our legislative body. And this one is on La Mesa Junior High School, the planter infill project.
Yes, this is an award of contract. On May 5th, 2023, the district received 2 quotes from contractors for the La Mesa Junior High School planter infill project. This project includes irrigation decommissioning of 6 grade-level planters and installation of concrete pavement in those planters. The project also includes a small amount of fence that's being added to contain an area near the portable classrooms. The low quote was submitted by FS Contractors for $39,500. Staff recommends awarding this contract to FS Contractors, the lowest contractor quote received. Are there any questions?
This comes out of the Community Facility District Fund, correct?
That's correct.
Fund 25.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley to approve the contract for planter infill as stated by Mr. Otofka. All in favor?
Aye.
Student board member? Aye. Chair says aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Otofka. Have a good evening. We look for you at the next board meeting. All right, we are now going to move on to act as a legislative body. Danny, you get one last crack at participating as a legislative body. And Mr. Peshek has this one for us.
Thank you, President Jensen, members of the board and community. On March 15th, the board was presented with 2 opportunities to realize interest rate savings on existing debt obligations. At last month's board meeting on April 19th, the board formally authorized the first action, the prepayment of the 2018 lease revenue bonds. I'm happy to report that district staff and the district's fiscal teams were able to post all required notices, transfer the necessary funds, and complete the full prepayment of the outstanding lease revenue bonds using restricted facilities revenues this Monday, May 15th. The early prepayment of the lease revenue bonds will save the district over $12.1 million in future interest payments. So thank you for that action last month. Tonight, the board is being asked to consider this approval of a second action, the refinancing of the 2013 special tax bonds of Community Facilities District number 2002-1. In April, district staff and its finance team presented the proposed refunding credit to analysts at Standard & Poor's Rating Services. And though the 2013 CFD bonds were non-rated, we were able to receive a AA credit rating on this proposed 2023 CFD bond refunding. The strong credit rating is a significant achievement that will help with further lowering the interest rates and transaction costs on this refinancing. Based on current market conditions as of late last week, total interest rate savings for this transaction are estimated at approximately $3.9 million. The district finance team is planning to price the refinancing bonds for CFD number 2002-1 next Thursday, which will lock in the interest rates and total savings figures. The district's municipal advisor, Jesse Landry, is also here this evening to answer any additional questions the board may have developed since he was with us in April. At this time, barring any further questions, we recommend that the board adopt this resolution to issue and sell Community Facilities District number 2002-1 of the William S. Hart Union High School School District 2023 special tax refunding bonds.
So moved.
Question, Joe? Okay.
Got lost in all that high-end education talk. So we're selling bonds to pay the tax refund, not the one that we talked about a few
Right, so
few
we've
meetings back.
we've completed paying off those lease revenue bonds,
Okay.
Joe. We did that on Monday.
Good,
Done deal, you guys approved it last month.
thank you. All right.
Today, we're asking you, as I have a couple other times in previous years, we have existing GEO bonds out there, CFD,
Right.
or bonds out there, and we have an opportunity to refinance them, similar to how you would
Okay,
refinance your
refinance
home
them at a lower
mortgage.
rate, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll second. Just want to make sure.
No,
Yep.
it makes sense.
Jesse, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Great overview, and just to put it in perspective, that AA credit rating is tremendous.
Yeah.
The district itself on its GO bonds may actually be a notch lower. We set forth with some structure. We structured it a certain way, and we set it up and just presented a great credit to Standard & Poor's, and really happy with that achievement.
This
That's
is on
gonna
the
help a lot.
refinancing. It's
This is on the
double A,
refinancing, yeah. So we've already locked that in, and we're ready to go to market next week and price.
This is one of the things I try to teach my students. A good credit rating can make the difference of a $1,000 house payment on the very same mortgage. And once kids began to get that and the credit ratings going up and making them perfect, saves buckets of money, to put it in technical terms.
And
Thank
in
you.
our case, those are hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings. So
Hundreds of
we were really
thousands of
happy to see
buckets
this
of money.
result.
Thank you.
Excellent. Jesse, thank you. Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Storley with a second by Mr. Messina to adopt resolution number LB 22-23, 22/23-10, which is to issue and sell Community Facilities District number 2002-1 of the William S. Hart Union High School District 2023 special tax refunding bonds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student board member? Aye. And the chair says aye. Yeah, this is a good move, and Ralph, thank you for your work, and again, Jesse, thank you. Okay, that concludes our action items. I don't believe we have any other speaker cards for our second public comment time period. So we'll move on now to the consent calendar.
I'm sorry. Teacher,
Oh,
too long. I have a question here.
Yes.
C2. This is disposal of books that are no longer being used in our district. I'm just wondering, do we offer these books to less fortunate school districts and so they can make use of them? And if not, maybe outside the country, maybe to places that could use these books instead of, I hate the idea of throwing away books.
Yeah, no, I believe we do that, yes.
Thank you. That's all.
We do have two speaker cards on the consent calendar, and they are on items C2, Diane Zimmerman and Glenda. So you're done? Okay, so you're done. Is Glenda here? I don't see Glenda. Okay. All right, so we have no speaker cards on the consent calendar then. Board, do we have any items you want to talk about in addition to what Linda brought up, or?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mrs. Storley to approve the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Student
Aye.
Board Member? And the chair says aye. All right, motion carries on the consent calendar. And we'll move on now to items for future consideration. We do have a speaker card. Rebecca Hindman.
Gotta love how fast consent calendar goes. Hi, I'm Rebecca Hindman. Again, I'm a parent in the Saugus District. As someone who moved here 6 years ago, I struggled with the website for the district and with the website of many of the schools. Many improvements have been made since, and now they work much better. There are still some deficiencies, though, in our system, and we really do need to discuss them and bring them to the board, bring them to the district. Opportunities are not advertised well, they're not really accessible to all, and are difficult to navigate within our websites and/or information given to our parents on a daily basis. What I would like to see is a discussion of maybe putting in our main page, on our hub, a district website that lists all of the AP opportunities, the pathway opportunities, the arts and the language opportunities that are at every campus. Because as a parent, I had to look and search and dig for what my kids wanted in their education. We chose Saugus because we found that they had an engineering pathway and they have Chinese. The reason why I'm also bringing this up right now is that we are being told that our Chinese program may be at risk at the moment because we have low enrollment again. I have a child who plans on studying it for 4 years. She plans on teaching in Asia someday. This is her goal. I would really like to make sure that we are ensuring any and all language opportunities for our students. When I mention engineering and Chinese to other parents, they look at me in shock and awe. Wait, Saugus has that. We need to be able to get this information out to our communities so that they know what opportunities lie for our students, so that they can actually choose, hey, this school actually doesn't have what I want to focus on for an industry. I want to transfer to Castaic. I want to go to Saugus and have Mr. Kosek as my engineering professor. And as a parent, I can say the engineering program is very successful. I know I'm going to go over time right now, but thank you guys for having that program and creating it, because I do have a child that will be majoring in mechanical engineering next year, thanks to you guys.
Thank you. All right, any other items for future consideration? If not, it is 9:37. We'll entertain a motion and a second to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn, A, in honor of our student board member, and B, in honor of National Police Week.
I agree, twice.
Second, Linda?
Yes.
We have a motion by Mr. Messina, second by Mr. Storley to adjourn in honor of Danny. Danny, thank you again. It's great working with you. And in honor of National Police Week. So it's now 9:38. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student board member? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you.